Angela. You kind of got on her in practice. She responds with a team high 20 points, 8 of 15, 8 rebounds, 5 rebounds. What did you see from her since that practice where you
Yeah, it's interesting. Honestly, there's been some games where maybe she hasn't scored as much, but I've even been just as proud of her. She actually didn't start out very well tonight, I thought, from a decision-making standpoint. And I can say that because I know if she was sitting here, she would say it first. And I think that's where sometimes the points and the stats don't always tell the story. My big challenge to her, and what I'm even more proud of, is at halftime, is I said, I just want you to focus on making the right basketball play. What's the defense doing? I didn't think she was reading the defense. I thought she shot it well, and I thought she got some great rebounds, but I didn't think she was in kind of the flow that we've been seeing from her the last few days, or last few games, excuse me. And I just think Angela is playing her best basketball of her career, and so obviously she wants me to even raise the standard. And I'm like, fight for consistency. That's what your fight is fight for consistency. And it's not about how many shots she makes. It's about decision making. It's about her defense. She wants to be a huge lockup defender for us. And so, that's my challenge to her. But I think she's been one of the biggest important surprises so far. Is her consistency, I think, has been a major impact in every single game, especially the last 4.
Coach, the defensive showing in that first half, Cori said, is I think the first scoreless quarter you guys have had since 2021. Holding a team to 0. What did you see defensively? I know you've harped a lot on it.
Yeah.
And what you want to see defensively from this team.
Well, it's really hard for a team if you don't have a lot of shooters, and we have so much size and length for us to be able to really force you into tough twos. That's really our goal, is to force tough twos, especially in the mid-range. And, we have a really good analytics team that talked about how they hunt tough twos, but they're not very efficient at them. And so we wanted to sort of bait them into doing those kinds of things. But every scout's a little bit different. But, I really just go back to, and Tasha's, Coach Brown has been so good with our team because she's the defensive coordinator, about talking about don't fall in love with offense. The gritty, just hard work of getting better on defense and being able to get, we count kills, which is 3 stops in a row. And we actually only had 7 kills tonight, and 6 of them were in the first half. But the reality for us is that's got to be like joyful, like you just guarding my yard, just getting stop after stop, having that dominant nature of like we just dictate how the game is played with our defense. And I don't think we're totally there yet in terms of our consistency, but I think we're making strides. And also, Coach Tasha said this overall about our game today, but let alone our defense, is that we were more consistent more of the time and on more possessions. And so I thought that was a step in the right direction. But, there's just no mistake. If we want to be a championship team, we have to be an elite defensive team. I really challenged them, actually. I watched the UConn-Michigan game, and talk about 2 hard-nosed, defensive, connected teams. And I just flat out said, we're not there yet. It's totally under our control to move towards that, but they are playing harder on defense and more connected on defense than we are right now. And I think it insulted them a little bit. And they want to become that. And I said, I'm not telling you that to criticize. I'm telling you that to give you an accurate barometer of where you are and according to the standard that you said you wanted to set. And so defend, be tough, rebound, or don't expect to be a champion.
Coach, when it comes to Lauren's progression, especially in terms of, when the double comes, being able to pass out of that, just how have you kind of seen that shape up a little bit in terms of, her being able to make those reads?
Yeah, there's just no substitute to hard, intentional work. And she's just been really good about saying, okay, I want to add this to my toolbox this year. Okay, this is my next progression. And she actually had the perimeter shot last year. She just wasn't confident enough to take it all the time. And then she put an incredible amount of work this summer on her perimeter jump shot. And I'm so glad she gave that shout out to Coach JC. They have a great connection, but I think I posted this earlier this week. She used to never never do this, but now she's showing up early. She was there at 8 a.m. today, getting extra pregame work. Her work ethic and doing things outside of practice has really increased. And, we always say the work done in the dark always eventually gets revealed in the light. And I think you're seeing that in Lauren's game.
Coach, you actually kind of just touched on this, but you had posted recently on X about Kiki Rice and how she had started doing a drill in practice.
Totally.
And soon the rest of the team followed along. And I mean, how was first to see that from Kiki Rice?
Yeah.
She started that, and then how infectious that work ethic has been.
Yeah, and I try to really, sometimes the real consistent people don't get enough praise. And Kiki, she is the reason our team is like that now. And, I hear it from WNBA coaches all the time that come to our practices, and they say, this is just not normal. And I said, thank you, Kiki Rice. And she came in here and wanted to be a part of the first Final Four team, a first championship team, all of these things, these firsts. And I said, okay, well, that means that we have to have an uncommon culture that absolutely outworks people and has an improvement trajectory that is very intentional. And you have to help us do that too. And she has taken that on, and people have followed suit. And it's sort of like everyone could see her game changing. And it's like, wait, I want to be a part of that. And she developed this great connection with Coach Tasha. And or people would be like, oh, I want some of that, And I have so many great development coaches, and every one of our players has a different coach that maybe they connect with. And it's just been really, really fun to see that permeate our entire team. And now it's just the standard. And we don't even think about it anymore. But we have to give credit to Kiki Rice for starting that trend.
Cori, give us an update on Sienna.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. She's not going to be available this week for this stretch, but we're hoping soon after that. She had a milestone this week that, as long as she keeps responding well, I think that probably it's really is a day to day. But I think I can be just really honest that it's not going to be this week, but I think soon after we'll get her back.
And just kind of what's it been like for her?
Yeah.
Not, the frustration level must
really
be there
hard
to some degree.
Yeah.
But what's she kind of doing behind the scenes?
Yeah.
To kind of stay engaged.
I asked her that. I said, tell me how you really are, Sienna. She's hilariously funny. And so she makes everyone laugh all the time, but sometimes I'm not totally sure how she's really doing. And she just, it's eating her up. She just wants to be out there so bad. And she's such a hard worker, and she's like always afraid she's going to be falling behind. But I just made a list the other day of ways in which I've seen her grow through this that maybe she wouldn't have otherwise. The way that I'm seeing her view and talk about the game is different and progressive. The way that I'm seeing her really attack some parts of her training that maybe with Coach Ash and our AP team, our athletic performance team, that I don't know if she would have bought into at the same level if she didn't know, oh my gosh, I gotta have to be in shape in new creative ways, whether it be in the pool or on the ski or go, all the different things, the tools that we have here are unbelievable. But I just said, you have to understand, and I made her write them all down. And it may not have been the way that you would have predicted or that you wanted, but I think you're going to look back in February and March and go, man, I'm applying some things that I learned at that time that maybe I wouldn't have learned otherwise. And so it's been hard on her. She's been dreaming about this and has worked so hard, and she was really playing really well. But I do think she is starting to see some ways she's grown, but she's really anxious to get out there.
Coach, what does the locker room look like at halftime during a game like this when you're up 31 points, the other team hasn't scored for a quarter? Not just in terms of what you're telling them, but what they're telling each other to kind of put the foot on the pedal.
Yeah, and I really ask them a lot. I just remind them of what their commitments are. I remind them of what they said they wanted to do. And it was pretty obvious that the score was not going to give us the feedback on our progression to that end. And so I think that I go, okay, guys, what are you really willing to earn this half? What are you really willing to do to earn some more confidence going into the game? Are you going to feel like a better rebounding team going into Texas because of the way you treat this second half? And try trying to give very process goals. So I put up on the board every player some ways on which different passion plays I wanted them to get. And then we were giving them feedback during media timeouts, or, just the process-oriented things. I showed them a clip. I think I told some of you guys this about the Nick Saban clip. I just went back to, remember, it's not our outcomes. Outcomes are actually a distraction. What are the processes that we're going to be committed to that are going to actually lead us to where we want to go? And so I think, they're a very mature group. It's the most mature group maybe I've ever been around. And they are very driven. So sometimes it's just about reminding them what they really want and how hard they're really willing to work, even when the score isn't their best feedback, to get better that second half.
Coach, can you talk about your thoughts on the ring ceremony?
Yeah.
How important was it for the team to see that? And also talk about just this Leonard's development as well.
Yeah.
Gianna came off the bench today.
Yeah, Gianna she just had a little tweak. She's fine, and so she didn't practice the last couple of days. And so I on purpose, I really wanted to limit her minutes today, and so I did that just from a preventative standpoint. She didn't do anything wrong or anything like that. She just tweaked something a couple of days ago in practice, and I just wanted to be conservative about it. But about the ring ceremony, I actually yesterday had to apologize to the team in the fact of I did not do a good job after the season making sure they felt celebrated. It was really hard. Obviously, we were knee deep in the transfer portal, and it was just a crazy spring. And honestly, I did not lead well enough in that. And so I was very excited today for them to at least get that opportunity for them to be celebrated. And I thought that they, it's a drop in the bucket in terms of what I think they deserve, and just in terms of the first that they earned. But it was fun to see them smile when they saw those rings and remember the great memories that they had. And then almost all of them, when they hugged me to get their ring, were like, "Let's go get another one, Coach," and just, but I wish I had done more last year, and the only way I can rectify that is help them get to another one and then do better next time.
Coach.
Oh, Lena, sorry. Let me just answer your question about Lena. Every freshman wants to quit a dozen times and transfer a dozen times before the holiday break. I mean, it's the hardest transition. And actually, they came over to my house last night and helped me decorate for Christmas, and I was talking to the freshmen about how hard it really is. And Lena's like, I know you said it, but this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And to watch her, though, continue to show up every morning, and to do extra work and to just relentlessly believe in who she can become. Her mom was an incredible basketball player, and I think she's tougher on her than I ever am. But she has a level of toughness and just sense of who she wants to become. She's going to be a really big-time player here, and I'm really excited about how she's progressing. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, you're okay. So 6 games in, what have you learned about this bunch so far? And with this big week coming up, what are some things that really stand out to you that makes you feel that they're going to be successful?
Well, I mean, I think all of us think we have great tools, but I think our talent is truly our floor. But our character, our toughness, our competitive nature, that needs to be our ceiling. And I think we're making strides, but if I'm being really candid with you, we have more to go. And this week is going to force that out of us. We're either going to go to a new level of competitive toughness, or we're going to lose. I mean, that's the reality of it. And I think that they all understand that too, and I have tons of respect for the other players in this great players era tournament that we're really thrilled to be a part of. But there's a really great thread that you can string through all those other teams, and Texas and Duke and South Carolina is, number one, how competitive and physical they are, but also what great defensive teams they are. And so I think it's going to force us to buy into just the gritty things that are going to lead us to where we want to go, and to not worry about offense. That is not going to be the determining factor. We have a lot of ways we can score. Obviously, we're going to prepare accordingly, but it's gonna put our backs against the wall in some really good and healthy ways. And I'm excited to see us come out swinging.
Coach, if I believe Gabriella had her 1,000th
Yeah,
point today,
I should have mentioned that in my opening statement.
what has she meant to the program through these years that she's been with you guys?
Yeah, it's so hard to put into words. You know, she's increased her scoring, her shooting, her all of the other things, but none of that means as much to us as her warrior spirit and competitive nature. That is the toughness that she brings to us and the desire to win. She just has a level of pride about what it means to put on that jersey every day. And that is so contagious. And it's really hard to take this experience for granted when you're around Gabs. She just loves it, every part of it. And I think I've shared this with you all before, but one of my very favorite things of every game is about 45 seconds left before we have starting lineups. And if you guys just pay attention to this, they huddle, and I go out to slap their hands. And then Gabs takes this running, rounded start, and she's the first one, and she comes and slaps my hand, and her smile is so huge. Like, I get to play this game again today. And it's just really tremendous. And I just think to myself, how lucky am I to be her head coach, you know, that I get to experience that with her. And she's been just a joy. And I have a ton of respect for her and how she came in as a overlooked, underrated, undersized forward. And now she's been leading us in three-point shooting. She didn't have as great a night tonight, but she's been leading us in three-point shooting percentage. She's played the last half of the fourth quarter for us. I mean, what she has done to just build her game, wow, what a compliment to her.